Welcome. Before I start with a brief little lesson on Fehu, the rune of spring and wealth and cattle, let's take a moment to draw our attention to our breaths and just have a few cycles of breath. Let's say 8 at your own pace, and I'll join with you. I'll close my eyes and I invite you to do the same if it feels comfortable, and just breathe for a little bit and just soak in the moment, and let's leave behind anything that is no longer serving us, and we'll be there if we need it again after this session, but this will be a brief moment of relaxation and rest in the long and arduous process that is life, and the joy of life too. But now just breathe slow too. We'll do this 5 more times. Inhaling all the positive green gold energy of spring, and breathing out the clutter that has been built up over winter's eves. Letting it all go, so we may make room for the new growth that is yet to take place within us, and yet it's so eager to take its space. When you're ready, bring your attention back to your body and your surroundings. And we'll begin with a short lesson on Fehu. So there are 3 different rune poems, as they're called, which describe Fehu tangentially by referring to the effects of what it represents, which is wealth. In the days of yore, wealth was measured in cattle, so this rune also has an association with cows and like livestock and such. So I got my little horns on because it's springtime, and I'm a Taurus, so I can't help it. So I will read the 3 rune poems as they were written in the book Teutonic Magic by Kvendov Gunderson. And now these are not written by him, obviously. These are written by authors and poets from long ago, but they give us an idea of what this rune represented. So the Anglo-Saxon rune poem reads, "Money is a comfort to everyone, though every man ought to deal it out freely, if he wants to gain approval from the Lord." Now, some historians do believe that this poem has some, Christian influence with the word Lord being in there. I myself like to think that it's referring to Freyr, who is the Lord of Spring. And Freyr's name literally means Lord, like it's just Lord. He probably had some other name back in the day, but we don't know what that was, so it's Freyr, it's Lord. So in my eyes, he deals very much with wealth and luck too, as well as Freya. And so it's almost like to deal out your money freely will actually give you a lot of luck. That is at least how the gift of Fehu has been, I interpret it, and others as well, including Vendolf and Dana Paxton, who wrote that Odin book that I referred to in my last video. The Old Norse rune poem goes, "Gold causes strife among kinsmen, and the wolf grows up in the woods." So kind of pointing to the fact that gold and wealth can actually, cause stress between family, because it's something that can create greed as well as prosperity, and to hoard wealth is, the darker side of gold and material wealth is that it can be hoarded, especially in our capitalistic society where hoarding is encouraged in a lot of ways, and very little is given in return from the wealthiest of our time, really. And a lot of times where they invest their money is into things that will directly benefit them or indirectly benefit them. It should be rather that everyone has equal opportunities, and talent is not, like, just a factor, but the access to resources is not a factor in an ideal world where we all have the amount of access to material and like resources to survive and to thrive. Not only survive but thrive. And that is possible because there is enough resources in the world. They're just all being hoarded. So the lesson of Fehu is that it can be hoarded or it can be given freely, and so we strive to give it freely, and there are many who don't. The third poem is from an old Icelandic rune poem, and it reads, "Money is the strife among kinsmen, and the fire of the flood tide, and the path of the serpent." Now, gold is sometimes referred to as glow red in Old Norse myth, because of its fiery beginnings in the earth, as well as its shine and shimmer. And it is something that can also burn a hole in you if you hold it too close, is the imagery as well. There is one more line in the Havamal, which Kvendolf, which Gunderson thinks is related to Fehu, and it reads, "One is called help and will help you in all sickness, sorrow, and affliction." So again, kind of pointing out that this is not just about wealth, it's about resources, and how, like, we live in a time, especially in America, which is where I live, we don't have health care. So literally wealth buys health. And so in that way, people want to act like, money can't buy you happiness in some ways, but in reality, you need a certain amount of money in order to survive, in order to feel happy, because you need it to pay for shit. It's frustrating. So the lesson with this is, while we have this, bullshit method of wealth tracking and wealth at all, then we need to be able to share it when we have a lot of it. And if we don't, then we are doing all of our fellow humans a disservice. And not only that, but we are like blaspheming the very concept of what it means to be human, in my opinion, which is to share and to communally partake and spread resources. Now that doesn't mean that we have to, get rid of every personal possession we've ever, had. You know what I mean? Like, I think the lesson is that if we were to share everything, we would all be living in like abundance. You know what I mean? If we all were to truly share as much as we should, which I need to work on too, which is something that's part of the lesson of this rune. We could always be giving more kind of thing, but at the same time, if you don't have very much, it's okay to want to have more, especially if it's holding you back from living your life. So this meditation will focus on Fehu in the context of it being important to gain wealth for the purpose of distributing it. That is the point. And I myself pray for the day when wealth doesn't matter anymore and we can have everything we've ever wanted. Everything. There is no limitation of resources. There isn't. Everything's renewable to a point, especially if we were to use the resources on this earth in a more resourceful way and a sustainable one as well. We can plant just a shit ton of trees. It's just simple things like that. But you're not here to hear my hot takes or, environmental passions, I suppose. We're here to focus on Fehu and the blessing of spring and metaphorical harvest from our gardens. Not only that, but the seeds that are being planted into our garden. That is the intention, is that Fehu is the rune of spring and therefore the rune of the promise of the harvest in the fall. Fehu is a great rune when paired with the runes Yara and Ingwaz, because Yara represents the cycle of the year. Ingwaz represents the seed that which is planted into the ground, where you can imagine Fehu as being, the process of planting the seed and the fertility that comes from wishing for a bountiful harvest with the intention of sharing that harvest at the end. Now I'll show you a few things that I will be using in my ritual today for the meditation. You don't have to feel the need to do anything that I will be doing today, but I will say that having some of these auxiliary items might help your experience just a bit. I know that it really helps for me. So I have drawn out the rune Fehu, nothing too crazy, just kind of, here it is. And you can draw it so you can visualize it better. If you're not too familiar with the rune yet, or you are having a trouble like visualizing it, you can just remember this, because I will be bringing in the imagery of the rune into the meditation at certain points, so that way you can visualize it better. In addition to that, I have a wine bottle, which I dedicated the wine to Freya and poured out for her. I've noticed she loves like a rosé is unfiltered too. Anything raw and dirty and just like robust in terms of wine or alcohol. If you want to pour out an offering for her, she would love it. Freyr is also somebody who tends to like white wine, in my opinion. Like, I see Freyr, who's the Lord of Spring, as somewhat of not. I mean, they use he/him pronouns for him in the myth. However, I think, as many things are and have been washed out by the Christianization of these cultures. He was more than likely somewhere like in the pool of dimension of like non-binary, like in all of the labels that come with that, and whatever, he probably transcended the label. It's more about he or they transcended gender, because they were very fair, and they're always described as being very beautiful as well. So these two twins also bounce right off each other. They're both like Lord and Lady of Spring. Freya means lady, of course. And what I did is, if you can see this here, got some runes on there. I actually spelled out Freya a few times, but now it's down to some runes on the bottom that I just blessed it with, like Unyo, which is joy and love, Suwila, which is the sun, because Freya is the golden lady. She is shining bright. Like I was saying, the love goddess and the spring goddess, and also she's a goddess of death and rebirth as well. So whatever aspect feels best for you, you can carve those into a candle. Green is a great color, or gold too. Gold's a great color too. And I scraped the runes in. This is another one I dedicated this one to Freya as well. I actually made two for Freya, and then one for Freyr. And this is the one for Freyr. It's got some runes on it. It's his name in runes, or their name in runes. And what I'm gonna do is I'm going to sanctify them with holy oils. So this is a Taurus oil, because it's related to cattle and bulls, and also it's me. Like, I'm a Taurus, and Freya is very closely associated with cattle. Her mother being Nerthus, who had a sacred cow that for ceremony every year there would be somebody who dressed as the goddess and come around with a cow to different towns, and everybody would put their weapons away, because the cow would symbolize a time of peace. It was like this cow and Nerthus herself, the goddess, would symbolize the time of no conflict. So the presence of Nerthus and the cow was very sacred. This Adumbla, this cow, which is this primordial cow, were very important symbols for the Germanic peoples. So the bull, using a Taurus oil blend that I'm not exactly sure what's in the blend, but you know how it goes. I also have one for the heart chakra, because Freya is the goddess of love, and of course the color green is the color of the heart chakra as well, and her energy is very strong in that area. One other area that Freya and Freyr are very strong with are the sacral energy, like sexual energy. So I have a sacral chakra oil blend that we'll also be putting on the candles. And once they're nice and sanctified, so to speak, I will light them in their names, and then we can begin the meditation. And like I said, if you would like to follow along, you can get yourself a green candle, and then we can do our thing. So feel free to pause the video if you need some time to get ready, and we'll begin shortly. Now we'll begin the meditation. Before we start, just make sure you're nice and comfortable. You can either be seated or you can lay down. Close your eyes if you prefer. Because this part of the meditation will also include a visualization, so I encourage you to close your eyes if it feels right for you, because we'll be going on a little journey to take up the rune Fehu in our mind, and we'll begin with some cycles of breath and draw attention to our bodies, one step at a time, and then we will go on the journey to get Fehu together. So let's begin. Now, inhale, and on every exhale, what I want you to do is to vibrate the word Fehu, with that woo sound being like the moo of a cow, nice and low at whatever is comfortable for you. And just let it vibrate your being and let the word fill your frame and your being. Knowing this is the spring, knowing this is the spring. Now just allow yourself to continue to breathe slow at the pace that feels right for you. And to keep saying Fehu on every exhale. Now whether you're seated or lying down, begin to imagine a dull green gold flame that begins surrounding your frame. Just a trickle along your skin as it fills up your being gently. And now you feel this warm fire tickling the bottom of your feet. As they feel warm, just allow them to relax. Release your toes and your foot. Let your ankles roll down and relax. Now allow this flame to trickle up further to your calves. Just release all that tension it takes from walking around all day. We spend so much time on our legs and our feet, and they deserve a rest too. They've carried us this far. They've done such a great job, so definitely give them a thanks because they're lovely things to have. Now bring your attention further up your legs into the thighs and feel the strength in your glutes and your hamstrings in the front. How much power is there? That is the core of your being which carries you from point A to point B. Let them rest, let them relax because they have made it this far. All the while imagining this gold green flame traveling further up your frame as it fills you with light and love and spring's embrace. Now find it to make its way to the hips and the pelvis, and feel the tension release from your sides and your core so you can feel at home once more in the glowing green light of Fehu's night. Your creative energy flowing from your sacral chakra. Embrace this. This is your gift. This is the gift that which you plant in the earth, so it may be harvested when the time comes. I'm going to dwell here for a moment so we can envision what it is we would like to plant in the ground. We are constantly tending to the gardens of our minds, and it helps to visualize what we want to grow. And how will this not only make us grow, but those around us? How will we give back this gift to those who we know and the strangers we've yet to meet? How will we bring this into the world? What will it mean to us? Now, feel that heat rising to your heart. And let your chest open up and relax your shoulders and allow the love to flow freely from you, as it will return to you every time you do. Every time. Love will come back infinitely more, as long as we keep it open. And we hold the door for those who do not have the opportunities we do, when we are blessed by Fehu's treasure. Now, allow your neck to relax. All that talking from your throat, all that communication, all your hopes and dreams, make sure to communicate to the seed you are planting, that which you want it to grow to, that which you want to see brought into this world. Now bring it to your forehead and allow your face to relax. Maybe crack a smile if that feels right. And allow Fehu's might to clear your third eye so you can focus on your internal compass, for it knows your purpose and it knows the direction you must go in. We are all the masters of our own minds, and in this way we know what we must decide to do with our gifts. Divine. And now go to the back of your head and allow it to be released as you open your crown chakra to receive the gifts that may lay in store for you once you've accepted this gift born anew and give it freely as if it were nothing new to you. Now you feel your whole frame enveloped in this divine flame. And from here, just be for a moment and breathe. Now, when you are ready, slowly bring the mind of your spirit, the internal visualization if you want to call it that, or you can call it your mind's eye, whatever feels like the best language for you. And in your mind, bring your attention to your surroundings. You may feel grass in your hands, soft and warm from the sunlight kissed. You may feel it at your feet as well. Maybe you're barefoot. Maybe you're wearing some socks. Maybe you're wearing something comfortable, or you're wearing something that makes you feel really pretty, or beautiful, or handsome, or powerful. And relaxed as well. Just imagine what kind of garb you would want to wear. Maybe a tunic, maybe a dress, maybe nothing at all. And look around and feel the warmth of spring. Maybe there's a creek trickling through, maybe there's some trees, some mountains, and the sun is shining bright down on you as the blessing will soon find you, friend. Now slowly, rolling your head back and forth in your mind. You don't have to get up fast, but slowly bring your mind's eye to see in front of you, in the distance, a warm burning light, a fire, and two figures sitting beside it, who you know as friends. Now slowly rise to your feet in your mind with no effort, for this is a body of spirit, not of flesh, which means that it's so easy to draw breath into it, and allow yourself to travel forward towards these figures as they welcome you to their side. They are Freyr, Lady of Sun and Golden One, Amber Tears and Gulaveg One, she who is of the earth of fertility's sake, and of the earth goddess, motherhood, and all that is in them. And lovely Freyr next to her, her brother, her sibling, her twin, divine one, beyond her cosmos, Lord of spring, delight to all, and fair and bright, and beautiful as well. Now you may imagine these two however you would like to. They are your friends after all, and they can look however you would like them to. They sometimes like wearing green and gold from what I've noticed, but whatever or whoever you want to visualize there by the fire, you're more than welcome to. Now we slowly glide over to them, not even needing to take a step, for our bodies carry us through the fields and we feel a soft breeze on our skin. And now we take our seats by the fireside next to them. We gaze into Freya's eyes, and their eyes burn with golden fury and truth and green blessing and promise. And we listen to her wise words, locking gaze with her, we hear their turn. If thou seek the flame of the dragon's bed, thou must understand that to receive the gift of the land, it must be given freely as it was in our hand, so that this blessing be returned to the land and we can grow once again and live through the fires of spring and harvest the seeds of the glow-red gleam. Be forewarned, for this blessing comes with responsibility. If we are to hoard, then we will be snatched away from joy and happiness, and bitter we will grow, then trapped in the earth by our own clenched hand. To receive the gift, it is better to be generous and to be free, freeing the gold and green light simmering down within our beings. We lie in the gift of spring and the gift of prosperity. The divine flame, we must be willing to part the ways with it, to receive and to relieve it as easily as it came. For when released, it will return again, in new form, in love, born within the rich clay of the earth in which we lay. Freya and Freyr invite us now to close the eyes of our astral minds as we together breathe around the fire. Breathe it deeper and purge the desire to hoard wealth to the self. If we work for the right reasons, if we educate through the seasons, and not just spring, but all the way to the harvest of autumn and fall, and summer between and winter's call, which asks us to be patient again and again, we shall begin again in the light of gold, red, green glow of the fires of Fehu we will grow. Now, as you look into these flames and hold your gaze steady, what do you see in these flames? How will you bring your own prosperity, and how will it transcend your being? What will you cultivate that will bring healing and peace? Where will the bounty of your labor go? How will it benefit those you know, and how will it keep the stranger still and help them too? And how will you also protect yourself from those who would take advantage of you? For not all are immune to the fires of gold, and not all will have these things foretold. Ponder these thoughts as we stare into flame. And when you are ready, raise your hand and move it near the fire. And once prepared, plunge it in. Feel the heat and the steeling of your mind against greed we often find when confronting the concept of material wealth. Instead, think on the bounty of wisdom and health, and how these things are the true gifts of spring's promise. And these are the most divine resources of all, for wisdom and knowledge can be hoarded as well. Feel the heat within you, above all in your hand, and understand the fading power of money and man. We are towards the end of needing these things, but the gift of Fehu is wisdom indeed. Grasp the rune with the might of your mind, and now pull from the fire Fehu divine. See the two-forked rune within your hand. Now it is your power and yours to command. Bring it close to your chest and feel the love, and allow its beating heart to flood your every sense. Feel the fires of creation and the bounty of health and wealth spread through your fingertips and throughout yourself. And now rise with fire inside, and we will give back to the earth, which is too much to cling to, so it can be returned to the rich dark soil to grow again and again. And Faye's gift can truly be ours, friend. For we will never be free until we are all free indeed. Feeling the green gold light simmering down within our bodies, we lie once more next to the fire, which is only embers now. Freyr and Freyr are lying next to us. But their gift in the coals, glowing hot and gold, remains ours, for here in this spot we rest, knowing now the gift of Fehu is golden hot. The gift of Fehu is now ours to call. As we do it, we call it freely to maximize healing. And with all this said, we do lay our astral beds and contemplate and meditate on what we will do with this sacred gift and how we will uplift each other through the weather, through the spring, and how we will return indeed to the mother ground through all things. Fehu, 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 Fehu. So, how are you feeling? I'm feeling more relaxed, that's for sure. Oh. So, yeah, today just, I guess, you can walk away with this in mind and realize too that, like, take care of yourself first. Make sure you're feeling okay. And don't give too much of yourself away either. This isn't supposed to be a guilt trip. This is supposed to be a joy, because it is a joy to share. It is indeed. And we all know to what extent we can offer ourselves. And as long as we're being honest with ourselves, we don't need to prove anything to anyone else. Thank you for your time. And just so you know too, sometimes, and this is not even, it's an observation and also something that I've read in a few magic books, but it can take up to a week or more for the blessings to really start showing up in real ways. So have patience. And also, as many of us know too, faith does not mean anything without action. So we also need to take action in order to progress our blessings. And it can't just be through prayer. Prayer is really important. It is. But we need to also take action in order to fulfill our faith. Whatever our faith may be. It could be just faith in the self. You know what I mean? That's the central core of it. As long as you have faith in yourself, that's the most important thing of all. You can literally pray to yourself. I actively encourage it. As long as we understand that we don't hold power over anyone or anything. We don't own anything. This shit's gonna fade away once I die. You know what I mean? Who gives a fuck? All I care about is my spirit, and I get to enjoy material things while I'm here, because I feel blessed. However, doesn't mean that I carry any of this shit over, not even this body. So why not give it away freely? We're all healing. Okay, I hope you heal well.